The Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show on the Padres Radio Network. Coming up, we'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. Listen to Craig Stammen's postgame comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
Welcome into our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score in this series opener in Texas tonight, the Rangers 9 and the Padres 7. Padres dropped to 38 and 36. Rangers improved to 36 and 39. Hey, player, with epic SoCal views, a full bar and poolside bites, Starlight Pool at Jamul Casino Resort is pool season perfected, and day passes are available. Jamul Casino Resort, the players' place. Lot to do on our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show. We'll go back to Arlington, Texas, hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. We'll recap what was really a wild game and an especially wild first inning, all the radio highlights for you. You know, the tough part about this game from a Padres standpoint is we talked pregame. One of my keys to today's game was, what was it? You remember? Were you listening? Were you tuned in? Key number one was get ahead. I told you the Rangers had kept falling behind early. Entering tonight, 15 times this season, when Rangers starting pitchers had allowed multiple first inning runs, the Rangers were 0-15. Every single time a starting pitcher had allowed multiple runs in the first inning. So wouldn't you know that Jacob deGrom, who, when all is said and done, and right now is one of the best pitchers of his generation and has been very good as of late, the Padres find a way to score 5 runs in the top of the first inning against Jacob deGrom. They hit the grand slam from Ty France. They find a way. 5-0 game. You're sitting there thinking, all right, a chance for you to cruise tonight. Randy Vasquez doesn't have to be perfect. You got your great bullpen. Everything lining up for a really good Friday night. But it did not go that way because it ended up being a wild first inning. Randy Vasquez did not have it in the bottom half of the first inning. Command was not there. He got hit hard. The Rangers score 6 in the first inning. And then after that, the Padres tie the game. The Rangers take the lead. The Padres, make it a 1-run game later. The Rangers punch back. From that point forward, every time the Padres had a big swing, it seemed like the Rangers had a response. But make no mistake about it, this game was defined by the first inning. The Padres taking a 5-0 lead seemed like they could be in cruise control tonight. And Randy Vasquez just did not have it. I think safe to say Randy's toughest start of the season. He just did not have the command. He was hit hard, and he settled in a little bit with the scoreless second and third, gave up a run in the fourth inning before he came out. But that was the story of this game, the fact that the Padres had an early 5-0 lead on a night where their offense finally had a big number early, gave you a big lead, which has not been the norm for this team in 2026. The roughest inning that Randy's had all year followed in the bottom half of the first inning. And that was the story of the game, really. I know there were 8 innings after that, but that was really the story of this game. The fact that the Padres had the big first inning against deGrom, and then Randy Vasquez had a really, really rough performance in the bottom half of the first and sort of set the tone for the whole game. We'll get into it. I mean, this was a wacky, weird, wild game. You had 2 umpires at the start of the game, which, quite frankly, I think played a role in the Padres scoring 5, because I think if there's a first base umpire in the top of the first inning, I think there's a pretty good chance that Xander Bogaerts gets called for he gets called for a swing by the first base umpire on what would have been strike 3. Instead, that plate appearance ends up in a walk, and Ty France hits a grand slam later in the inning. Ty France had a great night. He had really a historic night against deGrom. We will get into all of it, but again, here on this Friday night, really a wild game. The Rangers win it by a final score of 9-7. When we come back, we will unwind this wild game. All the radio highlights for you. A lot to do as we continue our post-game coverage. Rangers win this series opener 9-7 as the Padres fall on this Friday night. Our post-game coverage continues after this. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score here today, the Rangers 9 and the Padres 7 as the Padres drop this series opener. Padres now 3-4 on this road trip. They will have to win the final two games of this series in Texas to make this a winning road trip. And I thought Jesse and Bob did a good job sort of framing what the schedule is as we head towards the All-Star break. I'm going to get into that a little bit later because this is such a critical stretch of this season. We'll get into that later, but did not get off on a great foot here tonight. Again, really a wacky, wild game in Arlington, Texas. We'll head back to Globe Life Field in Texas, here from Craig Stammen coming up in just a little bit. As always, we appreciate you joining us on this Friday evening. Let's recap this one from start to finish.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, how about this? Tonight's game started with only two umpires because of travel issues. That should have been a sign that we were in for a bit of a wild one here tonight. It was a wild first inning. Jacob deGrom on the mound for Texas. He issued a leadoff walk to Fernando Tatis Jr. to begin the game. Samad Taylor singled with 2 on and 2 out. It was Gavin Sheets.
First pitch swinging, a line drive into right field and a base hit. Fernando rounding third on his way. He'll come in to score as Taylor speeds into third base. Gavin Sheets an RBI single, and the Padres take a 1-0 lead in the first.
Padres weren't done. Xander Bogaerts walked to load the bases. Next up, Ty France.
1-0 to France. Here's the pitch. Ty swings, sends it in the air to right field. Nimmo's backing up. He's still going back. He is at the wall. This one, gonna go! Ty France in opposite field, grand slam. And in the first inning, the Padres have jumped all over the birthday boy. They lead DeGrom and the Rangers 5-0.
It was the first grand slam of France's career. It was also the first grand slam that Jacob deGrom had ever allowed in his major league career. And like Jesse alluded to, on his 38th birthday, no less. And stunningly, the Padres had a 5-0 lead going to the bottom half of the first inning. Randy Vasquez took the mound. Jock Peterson led off for Texas. He hit a grounder to first base. Randy Vasquez covered and dropped the throw from Ty France. An error on Randy to begin the inning. Then Randy issued a walk. Brandon Nimmo hit a one-out double to score a run, and that made it 5-1. Vasquez then issued another walk. Alejandro Osuna hit a 2-run double. That made it 5-3. There were still 2 on base for Jake Burger.
0-1 pitch. Burger swings, hits it in the air down the left field line. That's a fair ball. That is going to tie the game. Duran has scored. Here's Osuna. Third double of the inning. A 2-run double for Burger. And it's 5-5. The Padre lead has disappeared.
Yeah, just like that, the lead evaporating. Nicky Lopez hit an infield single. That sent Burger to third base. Elias Diaz, the former Padre, was next.
Runners lead. Now the pitch. Diaz swings. Slow grounder to the left of the mound. Machado charges. Bare hands it. Throw to first. Not in time. A run scores. And the Rangers have their first lead of the night at 6-5 on just a seeing eye infield single. Elias Diaz not going to have many of those. But Burger comes in to score, and the Rangers are ahead.
And I should mention that the Lopez infield single before that, it hit Randy Vasquez. So, I mean, everything was going wrong in that first inning for Randy. The command, he was getting hit by comebackers, that little infield single off the bat of Diaz. The Rangers sent 11 hitters to the plate in the first inning. They scored 6 runs. Randy had to throw 37 pitches in the opening frame. It stayed a 6-5 game for a little bit. DeGrom retired the side in order in both the second and the third, but in the fourth inning, it was Ty France again.
2-1. France swings, sends it in the air, deep to left center field. Osuna's back on the track. He is at the wall. This one gonna go. Ty France gets him again, and guess what? The game is tied. 6-6 here in the third inning. So France not only it's the first grand slam ever against DeGrom, but he takes him out again in his next at-bat.
What a night for Ty France, a 6-6 game. Vasquez on the mound in the bottom half of the fourth inning. He allowed a leadoff single to Josh Young. Wyatt Langford was next.
Now the pitch. That's a liner over Bogarts into left center. Sheets trying to cut it off before it rolls all the way to the gap, but it will. Picked up at the base of the wall by Merrill. Rounding third is Young. On his way, the throw not in time. Throw now to third by Duran is in time. But Langford has put the Rangers back ahead. RBI double brings home Young at 7-6.
That was it for Randy. Yuki Matsui entered and got through the rest of the inning. Vasquez went just 3 innings and a third, allowed 7 runs, 6 earned, 8 hits, 72 pitches. Matsui pitched a scoreless fifth. DeGrom would go 6, and he would leave in line for the win. David Morgan came on for the Padres in the 6th. They gave up 2 singles to begin the frame. Ezekiel Duran hit an RBI single to make it an 8-6 Ranger lead. Wandy Peralta came in. He got out of the inning with the Padres down by only 2. Peralta pitched a scoreless 7th. Padres trailed 8-6 going to the 8th inning. Jacob Junis, who pitched the scoreless 7th inning, returned for the 8th inning. It was Gavin Sheets who led off.
2-1 pitch. That's in the air, deep down the right field line. Trying to keep it fair. This one, gonna go! Gavin Sheets with his 12th of the year. Tucked it inside the right field foul pole, and a 1-run game here in the 8th inning.
That's all the Padres scored in the 8th inning. Jacob Latz came in to get the final out of the inning. So the Padres down 8-7 going to the bottom half of the 8th. Right-hander Jason Adam came on. He was trying to keep it a 1-run deficit. Wyatt Langford led off for Texas.
Wyatt Langford leading off for the Rangers. Had a nice night at the dish. Goes after the first pitch. Sends it very high and deep to left. Sheets is back at the wall, and this one going to go. second deck in left center field. A lead homer here in the 8th inning, and the Rangers have re-extended their lead. It's 9-7.
So a 9-7 lead for the Rangers going to the 9th inning. Latz stayed on, trying to complete the save. It got Fernando Tatis Jr. to ground out. Samad Taylor, who continues to be terrific, collected his 3rd hit of the game, and so that brought the tying run to the plate in Jackson Merrill. Merrill grounded into a force play, the out at second base of Taylor. So Padres down by 2, 9-7. Latz on the mound, Merrill on base. The game left up to the tying run at the plate in Manny Machado.
3 balls and a strike. Here's the pitch. Manny swings, pops it up, foul ground, first base again. Berger to the coach's box again. He's there. He makes the catch, and the ball game is over. Rangers take game 1 of this 3-game series. After a frenetic start, it settles down, and the 3 Jacobs pitch Texas to a wild 9-7 victory. Huge night for Ty France, but just not enough on an evening in which Randy Vasquez could not get out of the 4th inning.
Yeah, Ty France and Samad Taylor, they were the bright spots in this game, no doubt about it. You heard Jesse say it, the 3 Jacobs, DeGrom, Junis, and Latz, pitching Texas to a win. DeGrom gets the win despite giving up 6 runs in 6 innings in this game. He improves to 6-4. Randy Vasquez drops to 6-5. Jacob Latz picked up his 13th save of the season. 7 runs on 10 hits, 1 error for San Diego. Texas 9 runs, 13 hits, no errors. The Padres dropped to 38-36. Rangers improved to 36-39. When we come back, we'll dive a little bit deeper into what Ty France did, into what Samad Taylor continues to do. Plus, we'll go to Arlington, hear from Craig Stammen as the Padres drop this series opener to the Rangers 9-7 on the Padres Radio Network. Full Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score, Rangers 9 and the Padres 7. In this series opener in Texas, we'll head back to Arlington, Texas. Hear from Craig Stammen in just a little bit, just a few moments. So stay tuned for that. Look, I do want to point out a couple of the bright spots in this game because there were a couple of bright spots. First off, Ty France. 3 hits in this game, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. He had 2 homers and a double in this game. And he really did have a historic night against Jacob deGrom. The grand slam he hit in the first inning, it was a really good piece of hitting, too, hitting it the other way out against deGrom. His first career grand slam. It was also, I mean, this is remarkable. It was the first grand slam Jacob deGrom, who has had a terrific career, the first grand slam deGrom had ever allowed in the major leagues. So that's a nice feather in the cap of Ty France, no doubt about that. Also, how about this? Ty tonight became the first player to ever have 3 extra base hits in a game against Jacob deGrom. Only other player to have 3 hits of any type since deGrom joined the Rangers was Vinny Pasquantino, who did it back in April of 2023. So it was a pretty impressive night for Ty France, who we talked about it pregame, had really been slumping coming in. He had a really bad month of June to this point. So hopefully a sign of things to come for Ty. I also, before we hear from Craig, I want to mention Samad Taylor again. I mean, Taylor had another great night. He has been so good since coming up from El Paso. 3 hits in this game. His hit streak is now up to 10 games. He's hitting close to 400 in that span. He has just been a total spark plug for this offense. And, you know, look, you zoom out on this loss. That's what is disappointing for an offense that has struggled so often this season. When you put up 5 runs in the first inning, and quite frankly, you put up 7 runs on 10 hits, you expect to win the game. You do. I mean, you don't want to be wasting these kinds of offensive outputs if you're the Padres, because you don't get a lot of these with this offense. And maybe the second half of the year will be different, but I think we all understand the story of the first half of the season. These nights have been few and far between. So it's a disappointing loss in that sense, no doubt about it. I said it in the opening segment. We illustrated it during the game recap. This game was really about the first inning. I know a lot happened after that, and there was back and forth, and every time the Padres punched, the Rangers had a punch back. But this game was about the first inning because the Padres took a 5-0 lead against a great starting pitcher in Jacob deGrom, and Randy Vasquez gave it right back and one more. And the Rangers had a 6-5 lead after a single inning, and Randy just didn't have it. This was his toughest start of the year. The command wasn't there. It was a bit of a wacky first inning with the error. That's how it started, was that error. Randy dropped the ball at first base. There was nothing wrong with the feed that Ty France gave Randy, first batter of the game, Jock Peterson. It should have been an easy 3-1 put out, and it was an error, and that was the start of all the trouble. And beyond that, he just didn't have it. Didn't have the command, was not executing. And he then had some weirdness go on where he then gets hit by a comebacker as the inning gets later. He has a go-ahead infield single off the bat of Elias Diaz. It went sideways really, really quickly. And it was unfortunate because, you know, you take a 5-0 lead before if you're a starting pitcher, you have a 5-0 lead before your foot hits the rubber, to then leave that inning trailing. That's pretty rough. All right, let's go to Texas. Padres fall 9-7 against the Rangers in this series opener. Let's hear from Craig.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
What's your view on what happened with Randy first?
Well, I think the first play of the game at first base, Ty bobbles it, Randy doesn't catch it. That just starts them believing that they can come back from 5-0 and walks the next guy. Those are just momentum builders for the other team. When you get a big lead like that, the one thing you can't do is make errors and walk people, and that's kind of what we did, and that's kind of cost us.
And after that, it took a few innings for the offense to really even do anything after that, except Ty.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're facing one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. We put up 5 runs off him in the first, some good at bats. He settled in a little bit like great pitchers do. We were able to get another one off of him, but not quite enough, the way their offense was producing runs.
Randy was pretty promising to start the season. What have you been seeing overall lately with him that's maybe caused some of the struggles?
Yeah, a little bit of just missing over the plate quite a bit. And tonight it was a little bit more of the walks early and then missing over the plate. So, a combination of those two don't usually bode well.
What do you think Ty Francis night meant for him personally?
I think it was a big night for him. He's kind of been searching for a swing a little bit here over the last week. He's been a big guy for us early in the season, kind of kept us afloat. And tonight, a couple of huge homers and a double. It was a great game for him. He had some great at-bats, and they were joking that he took 1,000 swings before the game tonight. So he's been working really hard, and, that work paid off.
What do you make of a night where you guys have 10 hits, but none of the big guys, have any of them?
It's part of baseball. That's why the lineup's 1 through 9. It's not just 1 through 4 or 5. They know that they're not going to hit every game. And we got other guys in the lineup that will produce, and they scored a lot of runs. Like on a night like tonight, that should be enough for us to win, but it wasn't.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen earlier inside the Padres clubhouse after this 9-7 loss to the Texas Rangers. Sam Levitt back with you inside our San Diego studios. Let's chew on a couple of things there. Man, that was looking at the box. It didn't really even register in my brain that the Padres had 10 hits tonight and that Tatis didn't have one. He was 0 for 4. Merrill was 0 for 5. Manny was 0 for 5. So, look, you can always make the very simple argument that anytime all those guys take 0-fers, it's going to be hard to win a game. They went a combined 0 for 14 in this game. Well, let me give you one more. Xander went 0 for 3. So Tatis, Merrill, Machado, and Bogarts went a combined 0 for 17 in this game. Now, to Craig's point, you scored 7 runs on 10 hits despite that. And at the end of the day, it's a team game. Your lineup is 1 through 9. Every hit matters as much as the next one, no matter who it comes from. But I guess you can certainly look at it and say, well, if you would have had some contributions from those guys today, maybe you could have overcome even a 9-run output from the Rangers today with the way everybody else was hitting. So it's an interesting, I didn't really look at it that way before the question there, but then I'm looking at the box and I'm like, yeah, well, it was a combined 0 for 17 for Tatis, Taylor, Machado, and Bogarts, and obviously that's not ideal. Again, I go back to that first inning. To me, that's what this game was about, was the fact that you took a 5-0 lead against the guy the caliber of a Jacob deGrom, and it was coughed up immediately. And look, for Randy, it's been very, very up and down, and he was very good the first month and a half of the season. If you zoom out, you look at his last 6 starts going back to May 20th. So we're talking about a month now, 6 starts. He's got nearly a 7 ERA in those starts. You're talking about, put it this way, only once in those 6 starts has he gone more than 5 innings. And he's gone less than 5 in half of them. So that tells you a lot of the story right there. So it has not been a sharp for Randy. There's no doubt about it. Tonight was his roughest outing of the year. To be honest, that was, by my memory, and maybe I'm missing something, but I don't think so. I mean, that was the roughest inning I've ever seen Randy have in a Padre uniform. And quite frankly, to be honest, body language wise, it looked like it. I mean, for those of you watching the game, and, we're always listening in here, but we got it on the TV so we can see what's going on. I mean, Randy looked shocked. I mean, he looked totally shocked by what was going on. And it started off on the wrong foot. You heard Craig mention it with the error. But really, at the end of the day, I don't think that was the issue tonight. I really don't. I don't think it was a case of he commits an error and then it just spirals on him. To me, that's, and by the way, if you're looking for a guy that can deal with base traffic, Randy knows how to deal with base traffic. Okay. This is Strandy V, right? This is a guy who his the best thing about him over the course of the last few years has been it doesn't matter how many base runners he allows. He finds a way to get out of it so often. This was different tonight. I know the error was not a great way to start his night, but A, he was hit hard. B, the walks hurt him, and he just wasn't locating. I mean, it was hittable. So it was a tough outing for Randy. It's been sort of a tough month or so now for Randy, and it was unfortunate with the way the game started. And anytime you have 7 runs on 10 hits, you want to win that game. And unfortunately, the Padres couldn't do it here tonight. We'll step aside when we come back, get into our daily awards. If you want to get a phone call in, 833-288-0973. Phone number to call, again, 833-288-0973. The phone number if you'd like to get involved. Rangers win it 9-7 on this Friday night. Our postgame coverage from inside our San Diego studios continues after these words.
On your mark, ready, set, let's go. Dance floor pro, I know, you know, I go psycho.
Back here inside our San Diego studios on this Friday night. Hope you're having a great Friday night despite the final score tonight. 9-7, Rangers win it against the Padres. Sam Levitt back with you, hanging out inside our San Diego studios. We'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in just a little bit. Getting to our daily awards here in a moment. As always, our post-game coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey, player, the rooftop pool's open, day passes are available, and the spa is calling your name. Jamul Casino Resort, the players' place. Tough one tonight for the Padres, no doubt about it. They took a 5-0 lead in the first inning, and by the time the first inning was over, they were losing. It was 6-5. We probably won't see a first inning like that all year. And Randy Vasquez, really, really tough outing. 3 innings and a third, 7 runs given up, 6 earned, 8 hits. He threw more than 70 pitches in just 3 innings and a third tonight. Randy takes the loss as he drops to 6-5. Even though it was a tough night for Randy, the Padres bullpen was good in this game. They really, really were. They weren't perfect, but they were very good. Let's talk more about it as we tell you about our relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, brought to you by San Diego criminal defense attorney David P. Shapiro. We help good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Learn more at davidpshapirolaw.com.
Relief pitcher of the game here tonight. You can go a couple of ways with this. I think there are 2 really deserving candidates. Yuki Matsui is one. Yuki came in the 4th inning for Vasquez after the Rangers had taken a 7-6 lead against Randy and ends up throwing an inning and 2/3 scoreless. You had Wandy Peralta come in the 6th inning. That replaced David Morgan after he gave up a run, and he would end up throwing an inning and 2/3 scoreless. So it's kind of take your pick. You know what? I'll give it to, I guess, Yuki, because at that point it's a 1-run deficit and Yuki kept it that way. But you could go either way tonight. Matsui was really good. Peralta was really good. And I'll tell you what, I do, and I understand this was a frustrating loss. I'm not trying to, give you too many silver linings that'll drive you crazy tonight. But I will say this. If you want to talk about 2 guys that I think need to deserve a lot of credit and more credit than a lot of people will give them, I mean, Yuki's got a 1.52 ERA. Wandy's got a 1.96. I mean, these guys have been good. I know they're not coming in the quote-unquote high-leverage spots. In a lot of cases, they're pitching when the team is behind. These are not the highest leverage of situations. I get that. But tonight's game, I mean, Matsui comes in a 1-run game. Wandy comes in a 2-run game. It's not like this was, cleanup duties. This was not mop-up time is what I was looking for, the wording there. This is not mopping up. I mean, these were 6th inning, 7th inning, 4th inning, 5th inning. You're down by a run or 2. I mean, this is prime time to try to keep you in a game. And you got plenty of time for the offense to come back. So those guys were outstanding tonight. Both got 5 outs. And again, both have a sub-2 ERA. I mean, do not let that get lost in the shuffle. And this is a great bullpen. But those guys are certainly a part of the reason why. They have been really, really good, those 2 guys, Matsui and Peralta. Now, I'll tell you what did hurt in this game. It was a rare mistake from Jason Adam, giving up the home run on the very first pitch he threw to Langford in the 8th inning. And I'll tell you why. I mean, this was such a wacky, wild game that when Gavin Sheets hits the home run in the top of the 8th to make it a 1-run deficit, I mean, I could not have been the only one sitting there saying, you know what? This game's been so crazy. Would it shock you? Would it shock you if the Padres come back and find a way tonight? And they have been good this year at doing exactly this in the late innings. But right after that, Sheets makes it a 1-run game, and then the very first pitch that Adam throws, Langford hits it a mile, and the Rangers get the run right back. And in that moment, you're like, oh, well, maybe not tonight. So not a great moment for Adam. Morgan wasn't great, but those 2 guys, Matsui and Peralta, really good this season and really, really good here tonight. Let's talk about the Padres' heart of the order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the Heart of the Order, presented by Palomar Health, the official healthcare provider of 97.3 The Fan. Palomar Health, leading with heart for every patient. Palomar Health is reimagining healthcare.
Part of the order here tonight, Merrill Machado and Sheets. Well, Jackson 0 for 5, 3 strikeouts. Not a great night for Jackson. Manny 0 for 5, 3 strikeouts. Not a great night for Manny. Gavin did have a good night, had the RBI single in the first inning that got the scoring started, and had the swing in the eighth inning to make it a one-run game, the home run. And for Gavin, that was home run at number 12 on the season. So Gavin Sheets, the only guy out of the heart of the order tonight to produce the 2 hits, the home run, couple of RBIs, couple of runs scored. Nice night for Gavin Sheets. And again, we said it earlier, hey, the Padres scored 7 runs on 10 hits, despite Tatis, Merrill, Machado, and Bogarts going a combined 0 for 17. So, look, you can look at that a couple of ways. That, hey, other guys got it done. Taylor, great night. France, great night. Sheets, really good night. Wagner had a couple of hits. You can look at it that way. Or you could also look at it and say, well, you lost the game by 2 and your big 4 went 0 for 17, and had those guys been at least a little more productive, maybe you win the game. Maybe you get a few more runs. So you can look at it whatever way you want. I suppose the only thing that matters at the end of the day is the final score, and the Rangers win it 9-7. All right, let's quickly squeeze in a phone call or two. 833-288-0973. Phone number to call, 833-288-0973. The phone number to dial on this Friday night. Let's go to La Mesa. It's Ryan leading us off on the phones. Ryan, you're on the Padres Radio Network. Go ahead.
Thank you, Sam. Congratulations to you all for continued good service. On the radio broadcast of the game, there was a conversation, and you and I have talked about the star. Hang a star on that one. Mm-hmm. And a caller called in to Jesse and talked about, does the star travel with the broadcasters all the way at visitors' locations? Mm-hmm. And can we hang do they hang the star mm-hmm. for other teams? Mm-hmm. And Jesse, and I don't think Junior was on that was Bob, yeah. Mm-hmm. But I will bet you dollars to donuts. Willie McCovey, Dave Winfield, Ozzie Smith, mm-hmm. the Colonel, all of our team is about faith, and what I found out as a 4th generation San Diegan, the star is to commend outstanding defensive baseball players mm-hmm. and plays. Mm-hmm. So I would say yes, and I don't know the facts, but I would say Coleman, yes, he's probably thrown the star for the other teams. I used to sit below the broadcast booth as a kid, and we always look up to see mm-hmm. if that play was good enough. But this is and the research from the Historical Society of San Diego is the Jerry Coleman came up with that. Remember his background, or I hope fans will look it up. But it comes from the little gold star you get on your first grade paper, your spelling test. Right. But so with that being said, I wanted to say that I believe the star should travel. This is something unique to our ball club. And if we need all the help we can get, but Sam, I thank you. I thank you for your time. Yeah, of course. And if there's information, in closing, I would love to have the broadcast team at 97.3, the Fan. Mm-hmm. I would like to see them put the microphones from the field silence for a minute and give Tony and Jesse the old sound makers that the guys used to use back in the 20s and the 30s to broadcast baseball games. I could be off a few years. It'd be fun because, hey, the knocks and the sounds that they – all right, brother. Thank you,
Ryan,
sir.
Thank
Go
you.
Padres. Let's go. Appreciate
the call, Ryan. I think what Ryan's referring to is the old game recreations they used to do back in the day, where they used to I wish I had something on hand. Well, what they used to do was they used to you used to have I think they would get little ticker tape, and from the wire, I'm not sure how exactly the technology worked, with telling them what happened, or enough information to tell them what happened in the game, and they'd actually recreate the sounds and kind of make it up as to what was going on. So it'd be like imagine this is the crack of a bat. I'm going to use my water bottle. They would be like this. Johnson throws the first pitch to Williams. Actually sounded pretty good. And it'd be like, and that was the crack of the bat. And then they would, here's the pitch. You can't really hear that. I don't know if you can hear that. It would be like the pop of the mitt. So they'd recreate the games and they'd actually do the sounds kind of in the studio with all kinds of objects and instruments. It's actually pretty funny. Well, not funny, but it was necessary back in the day. I'll tell you, I do have a colleague. His name is Jesse Goldberg Strassler. And we're going off on a tangent right now, but it was a call that kind of came out of left field. So a colleague of mine, Jesse Goldberg Strassler, is the voice of the Lansing Lugnuts. And he actually does something every season during his minor league season. They are I guess it's now high A affiliate of the A's, I think it is now, in the Midwest League. And every year, they have a game recreation night where they actually go in a back room. They're not looking at the field. And I think they have somebody give them little pieces of paper about what's going on in the game. And they, with the sound effects, with the objects, they do a game recreation like they did back in the day. So actually, if you heard one of our pregame interviews this year with Rick Riz, the great voice of the Mariners on the radio, who's retiring at the end of this year, we actually talked about that. Rick was doing that back in the 70s in the minor league. So pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. It was a really good conversation. I know a lot of people probably were listening like I didn't hear this conversation about the Star. I'll recap it quickly just so you understand. The question of the day today on the broadcast to Jesse and Tony, it was actually a really good question. It was a good, curious question. Does the Star that Tony or Bob will hang out on a hang a star play at Petco Park, and we do it on the radio. They also do it inside the stadium on the video board. Does the Star travel? And number one, the question was, does the Star travel? Which the answer is no, it does not travel. It stays in the booth at home. And number two is, do we ever give out a star for an opposing play from the other team? And the answer to both was no. I don't see a world in which the Star could travel. I thought they also made the right point that I don't think you can start hanging it out of the booth in other ballparks because those fans don't know what's going on. They don't. It's a Padre thing. I don't think it would make a whole lot of sense for it to travel. Or do I think it would make a whole lot of sense for you to start giving out stars to other teams? It's hang a star for the Padres. It's highlighting a good thing that's happened, a good Padres thing. So I understand the point from the caller, that, Jerry would have appreciated great baseball. And I think we do. But it does feel like it's got to be a Padres thing. It's such a Padres-centric, and kind of historic thing. So doesn't travel. I don't probably anticipate that we're going to start giving out stars to the opposition, but I understand the thought. So it was a very good question and conversation, though, I will say. All right, let's step aside. When we come back, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and we'll give you some final thoughts on tonight's game. Get you ready for the middle game of this series tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network.
Keep it.
Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score today, the Rangers 9, Padres 7. Middle game of this series coming up tomorrow. We'll preview tomorrow's game in just a moment. I did say earlier that before we wrapped up, we would kind of take a look at the upcoming schedule because I thought they had a good conversation about it. Jesse and Bob did during the broadcast. You know, it's really true. Not only does today kind of mark the start of a really tough schedule as far as opponent, but also just as far as the schedule and lack of off days itself. I mean, consider this. It's June 19th. Here's the schedule the rest of the way. This series against the Rangers, 2 more in Texas, 3 against Atlanta, 3 against the Dodgers at home, 3 in Chicago against the Cubs, 4 against the Dodgers in LA, 4 against the Diamondbacks at home, and then 3 against the Blue Jays on the road. I mean, or I'm sorry, 3 against the Blue Jays at home to wrap up the first half of the season before the All-Star break. Man, oh man, that's a lot of tough opponents. And on top of that, you've got one off day between now and the All-Star break. One off day next Thursday. Enjoy it. That's it until the All-Star break. So there's no doubt about it. It's a tough schedule coming up. Makes these next 2 games in Texas before the opponent side of it gets really tough. I don't want to say they're the end all be all, but you would like to win a couple in Texas, and now you got to win both in order to make it a winning road trip. So we'll talk about all that more as the series rolls along, but it was a good conversation with Jesse and Bob. It is a very tough schedule coming up, both opponent wise and with the lack of days off. Again, just one day off between now and the All-Star break. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We've got a handful of games still going on right now. Let's get to those first. The Angels lead the A's in Sacramento 11-5. Jose Siri, a 3-run home run in that one for the Halos. Twins trailing the D-backs 6-3 in Arizona. Ketel Marte, a home run in that one for the D-backs. Dodgers and the Orioles in LA right now. They're tied at 3 in the 6th inning. Pete Alonso, a big home run in that one for the O's. Red Sox beating the Mariners 5-0 in Seattle. Caleb Durbin, a home run in that one for the Red Sox. Blue Jays getting beat up by the Cubs today 16-2 at Wrigley. The Cubs scoring 7 runs in the first inning. Carson Kelly hitting a grand slam as part of that 7-run first. Tigers beating the White Sox 4-3 in Detroit. Tarek Skubal returned to the mound in that one, coming off the injury, the elbow issue. Skubal going 5 2/3 innings. He struck out 8, 7 hits, 3 runs given up, and the Tigers beat the White Sox 4-3. Yankees blanked the Reds 5-0 in New York. Cam Schlittler, what an outing for the young right-hander. Schlittler, 6 innings, scoreless, 13 strikeouts. He has had a terrific year, lowering his ERA to 1.71. Rays beating the Nationals 5-2 in Tampa Bay. Jose Aranda and Johnny DeLuca hitting home runs in that one for the Rays. The Marlins beating the Giants 4-3 in Miami. Braves over the Brewers 3-2 in Atlanta. Astros beat the Guardians 9-3 in Houston. Jose Altuve, a 3-run home run in that one. Royals beat the Cardinals 6-5 in Kansas City. Rockies beat the Pirates 4-3 in Colorado. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Friday evening. Let's hear tonight's play of the game.
One bounce, one hit, one pitch can be the difference between victory and defeat. What was the most important play in today's game? This is today's play of the game. Presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating and Air, Restoration and Flood. We know how.
Wyatt Langford leading off for the Rangers. Had a nice night at the dish. Goes after the first pitch. Sends it very high and deep to left. Sheets is back at the wall, and this one going to go. Second deck in left center field. A lead homer here in the 8th inning, and the Rangers have re-extended their lead. It's 9-7.
That unfortunately was tonight's play of the game, and we give it the play of the game tonight, because Nick and I were talking about it during the break. That just felt like it was deflating because, and I alluded to this earlier, the Sheets home run makes it 8-7 in the top of the 8th inning. And with the way this night had gone, and with how productive the Padres offense had been, it didn't seem all that far-fetched that the Padres could find a way. Down by 1, 8th inning, heading to the 9th inning to find a way in this game. Did not seem far-fetched. And then the very first pitch that Adam throws of that bottom of the 8th, Langford hits it a mile, and the run was, the Rangers get the run right back, and it was just deflating, and you thought to yourself, maybe not tonight. So that's our play of the game. You could certainly choose a lot from the bottom half of the first inning as well, but we give that Langford home run, unfortunately, here tonight, play of the game. It just felt like kind of a gut punch in a way after the Padres had once again made it a 1-run deficit. All right, looking ahead to tomorrow, middle game of this 3-game series, a 1:05 p.m. first pitch here on the West Coast. Our pregame coverage begins at 12:05. It'll be right-hander Walker Buehler, who's been very good lately, on the mound for the Padres. Right-hander Nathan Eovaldi on the mound for Texas. Again, first pitch tomorrow at 1:05 p.m. from Arlington, Texas at Globe Life Field. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, don't forget you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our post-game coverage there as well in video form. Final totals here tonight. For the Rangers, 9 runs, 13 hits, no errors. They left on 9. For the Padres, 7 runs, 10 hits, 1 error. They left on 6. Winning pitcher tonight, Jacob deGrom, who improves to 6-4. Losing pitcher, Randy Vasquez, who drops to 6-5. And the save goes to Jacob Latz, his 13th of the season. Time of game, 2 hours and 50 minutes. And the crowd at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas, 33,406. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, 1:05 p.m. Our pregame coverage begins at 12:05. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Nick Danucci, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from inside our San Diego studios. As always, our postgame coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place. Final score here tonight, the Texas Rangers 9 and the San Diego Padres 7. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network.